Hello, planning posse people! Yay! Flora Sage here, and I want to welcome you to another bonus interview for you. And this month, I am so excited about our special guest. Her name is Laura Fabre. Hello, welcome!
Hello, how are you?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm great.
Yay! So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and who you serve?
I am Laura, and I run a company called Websites with Words. So I was a freelance web designer and a copywriter for a while because I started with virtual assistants. So I was doing copywriting for a bunch of companies while I was doing web design. And then one day in November 2015, I was like, let's combine the two. That's how you get an effective website. A website without copy isn't really effective, and
Right.
copy with a great website isn't effective either. So I now have a team behind me, a team of experts, and we produce websites that come with the copywriting.
Nice. That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Because that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people feel is that they're like, oh my gosh, I really want a website, but I have no idea what to say.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a blessing.
And then it takes them so long to actually get the website done because they just procrastinate on the writing and the planning and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's huge, especially when somebody is trying to plan their business and plan to reach milestones, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, here's this huge milestone, and it keeps getting pushed off and delayed and delayed.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what an awesome thing to be able to provide for people. Woohoo!
It's
so,
my passion.
obviously, this took a little bit of planning for you to figure out that, hey, this is what I want to do. So why don't you share with us a little bit about your planning experiences in the past, what you tried, what worked, and what didn't work?
Yeah. Okay, so I started as a virtual assistant. Actually, I'm trained as a nutritionist, and
cool.
and I've been online since 2010. So I've had multiple online businesses since 2010. So for the past 7 years, and I was short on cash, like really short on cash at one point in my nutrition business. And I was like, I need to do something else. But since I've been online since 2010, I have all of these tech skills. So I'm going to offer some virtual assistants.
Nice.
So I started virtual assistants, and then like overnight, it just exploded. I had new clients contacting me every single day, and they would just come, and there would be so many of them, and there would be tons of different projects going on at once, and I never planned before because I never had to plan before.
Yeah.
I had to start like respecting their deadlines and then just managing all of these different projects at once. And so I started getting into planning when I started doing VA work because out of necessity. And also I was double booking calls all the time, which is not good at all. But the way I planned back then for that business and the way I plan now are two completely different systems. And the way I do it now is just much more effective. So how I was doing it back then was with a calendar, and I would say, I would just every single day in the calendar, I would write down a list like of all the things I had to do and when they were due for all the clients. So I have this like running list going, and just plug time slots into the calendar. Like this client, 3 hours Monday, 2 hours Thursday, and so before the week began, my calendar was completely full of projects. And then if I followed that, then I could stay on track and then ultimately accomplish all of the projects. And then when I started getting into web design, I was really just working with one client at a time, so I stopped doing the planning. And then in November of this year, decided to scale the business. I saw a very clear vision on how to scale my business, and it required goal setting and hiring a team and getting many clients at one time instead of just working freelance one-on-one, one at a time, which is what I was doing. And so I started running into the same problems that I saw with the VA business at the very beginning, where I was double booking calls and having all these different projects. So I still do the same thing where I write down every single to-do task. Yep. But instead of scheduling it in the calendar now, I just have the task list for the day. So I do it daily. And I write down a new to-do list for the day. And then how I use my calendar is with bookings. And that's something that's changed in my business is I'm always having meetings now. And I'm having meetings with my team, and I'm having meetings with potential clients, and having pick your brain sessions with people. And so I have this calendar, and people can book through the calendar, and it gets sent to my phone calendar, which is awesome. And then I have my to-do list, and everything on my to-do list goes around what I have in my calendar. So that's one aspect of the planning. That's like the day-to-day, like every day, how I plan my day. For business planning, I set yearly I'm a really good business planner, and I offer planning to my clients.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I offer a 5-step website website creation process, and step 1 is like a business planning thing. And this is what I was doing with clients for a while, is we would sit down at the beginning of the year and say, okay, what are the goals you want by the end of the year, like revenue goals and list goals and stuff like that. And then I would work backwards. And so I started doing that for my own business because I was doing that for other people for so long. So I set these very large business goals. And because they're so large, this year, it's the first time I've ever made something like, whoa, like this is insanely big. How am I going to do this? Because it's so big, I have to do exactly what I was doing with the clients. It's to say, okay, what am I going to do the first quarter? What am I going to do the second quarter? What am I going to do the third quarter? And then also the first quarter is like more of the foundation. The second quarter is like revving up. And then the goal is that by the fourth quarter, it's like flying. So it's not like, okay, my revenue goal is like such and such hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm going to break it up. So it's like 150, 150, 150, 150. Right. It's not like that. It's like you start like slow and you build momentum. Yep. And so to do that, I have an accountability group. And so every 8 weeks, I set 8-week goals. And then every single week I meet and set commitments towards achieving those 8-week goals. So I don't look at the long term, but I do look at the long term, like personally. But with this group, I only look at the 8-week goals, and then every single solitary week, I set commitments. What can I do to get to this goal? And then I get back to I do the commitments, and then I go back to the group and then review the commitments and then set new ones. And it's a very structured group, and it works so well. And I think if I didn't have the group, then I would definitely not achieve my goals at all, because I would have not accomplished what I've already accomplished.
Yeah. That is so awesome. Well, and that sounds similar to what we do here in the Planning Posse. Yeah, we meet every single month, and then we have 3 support calls throughout the month. But I love that you actually do it weekly with them, because that's huge. I mean, well, and being able to know that about yourself and say, okay, so this is what I need in place in order for me to achieve these big goals, because big goals are kind of scary. You know, they're those things that you realize, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I'm going to have to be a different version of myself. I'm going to have to really step up and get outside of my comfort zone in order to actually make this work. And then, okay, what can I do? And these are the things that I like to call stretch goals, or like those big rocks. It's those really big things that you really want to achieve. And then you're like, okay, how can I reverse engineer this so I can actually make it happen? That's so huge. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay, so this is pretty big stuff, you know, being able to hire a team and all these other things, but you haven't always been at this place. So why don't you share with us a pivotal moment in your life or your business where you knew, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to figure out a planning system that will actually work for me as my life is right now. So share with us that pivotal experience of yours.
Well, the pivotal experience came after I decided to set these business goals. And the reason I set these business goals is because I was doing just my yearly, every single year, like end of the year, review what the goals I made and then decide what my next goals are. And I was just sitting with them, and I actually just wanted to make the same salary that I made the previous year. Like I was super, super content with like everything. And then someone challenged me and they were like, don't you want to, create something bigger and create a system? And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I actually do. So I set these big goals after I got the vision of how to achieve them. And then that was the moment when I said that I needed to put all this in place. And I'm still putting this foundation in place. For example, moving to I'm in Netherlands, so I'm living in France, but now I'm in Netherlands, and it's required by the government that you keep a time log. So this is so new for me, and it's really hard for me to keep a time log because it's just a habit I'm not in. So I'm continuously refining how I'm doing my planning and keeping track of everything. And as this process is just so new to me, or these goals are so new to me, I'm just experimenting with different ways. But so far, what I've been doing has been working. Yeah.
Nice. So the government has you do a time log for your business?
Yeah, because you get a huge tax reduction depending on how many hours you worked.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
Except taxes are like 70% here. So, I mean, like, you need the tax reduction.
Yes. Wow. Well, so then I suppose because that would cause a lot of people to say, oh, well, if I can get a write-off, I'm just going to keep working.
Well, yeah, it's up to a maximum amount of hours, which equals 25 hours a week.
Oh, nice. 25 hours.
But, like, I work a normal work week, which is more than 25 hours, and but that's how much you need to work to get the tax reduction.
Oh, how cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so that's really exciting. So, okay, so having all of this business stuff in place and then, of course, having a life, why don't you share with us how you create harmony in your life and your business using these systems?
Yeah. Well, number one is I really do like and enjoy working in my business. So I've worked in places that I didn't like working in. And I've also worked with, like when I was a VA, I worked with clients that I didn't enjoy working in. Like every day would be a struggle. And now everything's completely changed. I'm in such a passionate place in my business and have such a deep mission behind it. And that changes everything. So I want to work and I enjoy working, and every single day I really want to put in a full day of work. Now, I do take weekends off unless I have creative work to do, and then if I have creative work to do, I'll do it on the weekends, like just in the living room or, just relaxing. But I'll never on weekends put work first. I'll never be like, oh, I have to get this deadline done by Monday. I'm going to work on the weekend. It's like if I have spare time on the weekend, then I'll do it. And this is something I set up in my business a long time ago. And so key to my well-being, just to have that space, just to like disconnect. And usually my phone dies, my computer shut off all weekend, like I'm off. And so the other thing I do is go work out a lot, and that just keeps me super energetic. So every second day I wake up at 6 and go to the gym immediately because I work from home. And so I get kind of like bogged down working from home, and that's the other thing. And then the other thing is, it's like when I'm done at the end of the day, when my brain starts to like go because of the computer screen, I just shut it off. And these are 3 things that have really, really helped me. And then the rest is just boundaries with other people in my life. Just because I work from home, just because I have my own business doesn't mean that I'm not working a job. Just like I have my own job in my business, just like my team members have their own jobs in my business. And so I'm working a normal work week like the rest of society, and I really enjoy it. And so there's boundaries with that too, but I also like it, for example, it's sunny so little here that if it's sunny, like I'll take the afternoon off. But yeah, just a normal work week, weekends off, evenings off, taking care of myself.
Nice. I love it. Well, and it sounds to me like the systems that you have in place allow you that freedom, that because you stay focused when you're at work. You're at work. You're not thinking about other things or multitasking. You're just focusing on work. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the to-do list really helps because with the to-do list, like let's say I'll have one for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just like knock off all the little things really quickly at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
And then I can spend the rest of the time, and then I can take a break, and then I can spend the rest of the time on the larger projects that need more focus. But I just really enjoy doing the work. Like it's a real passion of mine. And then the other thing that keeps me going on that system is that I do like a whole morning thing where I'm sitting down, I'm like writing out my goals of the year, writing out my goals for the quarter, every single solitary day. I'm like going through affirmations. I'm using emotional freedom technique, like tapping on any negative beliefs I have. And so that's just something I started doing every morning that really helps me stay on track.
Oh, I love it. I love that so much. And I love that you say that you do the smaller things first. I'm a big fan of that. Huge. Because so many people say, oh, get your biggest thing done first. And I'm like, sometimes that's exhausting. And then after that, you're just spent. You don't want to do anything else. But getting those little things that are still productive, that still move you towards your goal, you can just knock those off. And you're like, bam, I did this. And then you tackle that big thing. And then you're like, okay, I'm done. And then you shut your laptop and walk away. I love that you do that too.
So I used to do the big things. And then I realized that the little things never got done.
Yeah.
Because I can run on the big things for a really, really, really long time. And then and at the end of the day, when I'm exhausted, I'm going to shut it down no matter what. Like, I'm not going to do the little things after I've already fallen asleep. Like, I just have a cutoff point. And I think it's just, like, physically, my eyes and the computer screen, they just don't go well together after so many hours. But I found that's the only way to get the little things done is just to knock them off. Yes. And then it just gets rid of so much anxiety because there is so much anxiety that comes from only doing the big things and then never doing the small things. And then you have this huge list of small things that need to get done. And you're like, oh, I have to get that done. I have to get that done. But I don't have time to get that done. I don't have time to get that done. Yep. And then you're never going to have the time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, preach it. Yeah, I mean, and that I love hearing that you're saying this because so many, I think more people need to actually talk about this because a lot of business owners, that's one of the things, well, and even just people that don't have a business, that's a lot that, people are so focused on getting that big rock or that big milestone done. And these little things that are still daily to-dos or even weekly to-dos that are productive, that are keeping your business afloat or bringing them forward or rising them up is something they're so critical. And yes, if you don't do them, you're going to have to eventually do them. And so weaving them in, especially at the beginning of the day when you're like, okay, yay, I've got all this energy. It's a small thing. You can check it off in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30, maybe an hour at the most. But you can get that done. And that right there will help you build momentum for the rest of the day.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's implemented just a couple months ago, and wow, it just changes the entire day. Big things I'm just focused on, and I don't have to think about anything else while I'm doing them.
Yes.
So it's just more pleasurable.
Yay! I love it. Yeah, one of the things that I always share with my clients is go in there and interact with people on your Facebook page. Like the comments, comment on the comments, look at your stats, look at this. And, this is a small thing that's so critical. It's so vitally important for your social media presence is to be engaged on your page. And some people wait till the last part of the day. Some people keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But that's something that literally when you get in there, when you're fresh and you stay focused, I always set my timer when I'm on Facebook or any social media. Otherwise, I get sucked in. But if you say, I'm going to go in, I'm going to read my posts, I'm going to, like the comments. If somebody commented, I'm going to comment back if it requires a comment back or if I'm just guided to comment back. And then get off of there. And that's one of those small things that you can spend even just 10 minutes doing every day or 15 minutes, depending on how much you post. But that builds a lot of momentum. And that builds a lot of momentum, not just with you during your day, but with your business, because that really, you know, keeps you in those Facebook algorithms and the social media algorithms, and allows you to see the results of it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is, and you know, checking email sometimes can bog people down. I spend 30 minutes a morning checking email. And my business coach, he's always like, no, you need to check it in the evening. I'm like, no, I don't want to, because then I'm going to spend all day going, I wonder if somebody emailed me in the middle of the night and they need something or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
That way I know I can take care of those critical ones first thing. The other ones, I can wait, you know, and
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there's something else that came up. It's that if something comes up that's small that needs to be done, I just do it. So, like, let's say someone calls me, and I have a tendency to, like, procrastinate calling them back and stuff. But I just found that if I just do that, just, like, call the person back or, you know, do any of those little things that I have to do, that productivity goes up as well. Because I'm just, it's like I'm clearing something, you know? Like, they have, like, this energetic pull on me. And just to, like, get rid of this, I'm just so much more in a clear space.
Yep. I love it. Yay! I so love that. So, I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot of work, both energetic and spiritual, as well as the actual, like, literal work. And so, why don't you share with us, like, the biggest lesson that you've learned during your whole planning experience and journey with us?
The biggest lesson I've learned is that it's so necessary to constantly adapt and not get, like, caught up on any one system, because maybe what I'm doing works this week, but then next week something will change in my business, and then I'll need to change that. And then also, the other huge thing is, it's like I plan my to-do list, but if I don't get it all done, like, no prob, like, no beating myself up about that, like, whatever, that's just the flow of life. I overestimated how much I could get done, right? Or and then the last piece of that would be, I do often overestimate what I can get done. I'm ambitious in that way, but that's just to communicate with everyone else who's involved in, which there's a lot of people always involved in things when you're working with other people, and it's just like this constant communication as early as possible. Like, hey, I'm running behind on this today. I don't know if I'm going to be running behind closer to your deadline, but I just want to give you a warning about this, like, because you know what I mean? And just that just creates such harmonious relationships with people.
I love it. Well, and I love that you mentioned to just change it up if you have to. And I love, and you know, that actually brings us back to your first story where you said, you know, the system that I used in this business, and you know, it didn't work for this one. And so you just changed it and you tweaked it. And I love that you do that, because that's one of the things that I share with my people is what worked for you yesterday might not work for you today.
Yeah.
So give yourself permission to play around with it. I love that you said that, because that's the biggest thing I think that people get caught up in, is they think, well, this works for me right now, and then 3 years from now, all of a sudden they're like, why isn't this working? And they beat themselves up about it, and they think there's something wrong with them, and and it's just this spiral. And I love that you're just like, yeah, just change it. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. I just don't see to waste time on doing things that don't work.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. So why don't you share with us a way that our members can connect with you outside of this interview?
Okay, there's a couple of ways. The first way is that if someone is interested in hiring a web designer, not necessarily me, it could be any web designer ever, I have a really, really, really awesome guide on how to interview a web designer. So it gives you 9 questions to ask, because a lot of times people just don't really know how to hire them, and then they have terrible experiences. So that's that. And then I have something, and then that's at websiteswithwords.com/hire a designer.
Nice. And I'll put that link below so everybody can just click on it and it'll take them right there.
And then the second one I have is called 24/7 Sales from Your Website.
Nice.
And it gives people 5 copywriting and design basically edits they can make to their website to really just boost up the effectiveness overnight. And that's
Nice.
at websiteswithwords.com/24/7, so 247.
Perfect. And that link is going to be below as well. Yay! Thank you. I'm so excited. So all the links for your social media, for your websites, all these 2 free gifts that you have, I'm going to post all those links below. So Planning Posse members, please click all these links. Connect with Laura today. She's amazing. And so, well, that brings us to the end of our interview. Laura, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us for a few minutes and share with us all of your wisdom and all of your experiences, because this is really big for all of our members to be able to hear from successful people who've been there, done that, and are still going through it, and just to hear your journey and your aha moments. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yay, awesome. All right, Planning Posse members, please click the links below, connect with Laura today, and I will see you back here next month. Mwah! Bye.
Bye.